So let's quickly go over the answers, and I bet with most of you I at least tricked you once, so make sure to review anything that you still need work at. Alright, so A is -9, E is +6, B is 7, F is -6, C is 2, G is 2/3, D is -4, H is -12. On the back, I is 5/hundredths, M is -5/8, J is 1/4, N is -5/6, K is -3 5/10, O is 5/100ths, L is 2.5, and P is also 5/100ths. I gave 3 different answers, or problems that had the same answer. But if I tricked you anywhere, please go over these and make sure you really understand it for Wednesday. Alright, so for those of you that still struggle with the open number line, again, draw one of these. That's a closed number line with all the numbers shown, and you can always draw one. It will help you get the answers, especially if you keep getting confused with the open number line. So this first problem, -3 minus 6, that one is like a regular elevator problem. This first number, -3, means we start at the -3rd floor, or 3 floors in the basement, and -6 means we go down another 6 floors. So on the open number line, if 0 was up here, the lobby was up here, -3 is 3 floors in the basement, right here. And then -6 means we go down 6 more floors, which would get us to -9. And again, a quick check over here, and we see that -3 going down 3, 4, 5, 6 would also get us an answer of -9. E is trickier, because if I look at E, first I have to figure out if this is going up or going down. Remember that this first number is just the starting point, so that's not going to tell me if it goes up or down. But this, minus -8, that's the same as removing 8 weights. And so I think of the movie Up for a second. I remember when Mr. Fredricksen threw furniture out of his house, the house went up because it got lighter and the balloons were able to have a bigger force on the house. So basically, I need to start at -2 and go up 8. So now that I know that it's going up, I'm going to start. First, I'm going to mark 0. I think Kersey and Stewart do that every time. It's a cool strategy. I'm going to put -2, and then this is going to go up 8. So first, I'm just going to go to 0, plus 2, and then I'm going to go up 6 more to get to +6, and that's why the answer is 6. You could have also just come over here to -2 and gone up 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Finally, we could have also thought of this problem, since it was starting at -2 and going up 8, just as -2 plus 8. Alright, so B said 5 minus -2. And again, I gotta think, I know we're starting at 5, because the starting point is always the first number, but then minus -2, I gotta figure out what that means. And again, I can think of the house, and I can think that we're going to remove 2 weights. It's like we're throwing 2 weights off of the house. That would make the house go up, because again, with less mass, the balloons don't change, so now they're stronger. They're going to bring it up. So this one is actually really straightforward once you figure out that it's going up, because you're starting at 5, and you're going up 2, which gets you to 7. And 5 minus -2, all we really did was start at 5 and go up 2, so 5 plus 2 would be equivalent. And we could have also solved that problem on a closed number line. Starting at 5, getting rid of weight makes us go up 2, so we'd end up at +7. Alright, so letter F, 6 minus 12 is just a regular elevator problem, or a regular integer problem where we start at 6 and go down 12. So to do that, I'm going to start at 6, and then I'm going to go down 12, but first I'm going to go to 0 by going down 6. And of the original 12, if I go down 6, I still have 6 left, so I should end up at the negative 6th floor. And checking that on the closed number line, 6 going down 12, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 gets us to negative 6. And if it was a little confusing why this is going down, just because of all the things we've been learning, you could have also thought that subtracting a regular 12 is the same as getting rid of 12 balloons. And getting rid of balloons, if you think about that, that's going to mean it's not holding up the house as well, so the house goes down 12. All right, so negative 6 plus 8. First question, is this going up or down? Well, I remember that the starting number has nothing to do with which way it's going. It just tells you where it's starting. So the negative just means we're starting below 0 at negative 6, and then plus 8 is just going to mean we're going up 8. In elevator language, we're starting at the negative 6th floor, and we're going up 8. So I'm going to go to 0 first, and then we're going to land at the 2nd floor. And again, whoa, come back to me. Again, we could have also done it on the closed number line. We're starting to get into the trickier problems, which are closer to the state test level ones. So for G, the first question again I want to ask, is this going up or down? And remember, this one is almost identical to C. That's why I put them next to each other. So this is the starting point. And then so it doesn't have anything to do with weights. It's just starting at negative 12. And that means that plus 4/3 means we're going up 4/3. So, okay, I'm going to do that on an open number line. I'm going to mark 0, then negative 12/3, or 2/3. I wonder if I said 12 earlier. Negative 2/3 goes right here. And then we're going up 4/3. So I'm going to first just go up 2 of the 4/3, and that would leave me 2/3 left over, which means we would land at positive 2/3. And Nerlin from 701 has been saying that for these types of problems, you really just need a regular number line. Since the denominators are the same, this is sort of like starting at negative 2 and going up 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that means that that's the 2 that goes on the top, the numerator, and it's still going to be thirds, so it's positive 2/3. All right, 6 plus negative 10. First question, is it going up or down? So since we're adding a negative, I know that this involves weights and the balloon house model. So it's like the house is starting at 6 feet above sea level, but then we're adding weight to it, and weight is going to pull the house down. So I know that plus negative 10 does the same thing as subtraction. It makes the house go down. So now that I know that, I'm going to make my open number line. I'm starting at 6, and then I'm going to go down a total of 10. So first, to get to 0, I go down 6, and that would leave me 4 left over. So I should end up at negative 4. And if you wanted to write an equivalent subtraction problem to 6 plus negative 10, that's the same as 6 minus 10, because we start at 6 and go down 10. And again, you could have used this if you needed it. All right, so H looks super tricky. It's negative 3 plus negative 9, but let's think about and try and picture in our head what story this is telling. It's kind of how Pedro says it. So what story is this telling? We're starting at negative 3 feet. So that's 3 feet below sea level, The negative 3 doesn't tell us if we're going up or down, it's just the start. And then we're adding negative 9. So this problem is really similar to the one we just did. So we're going to add weight. Adding 9 pounds of weight is going to bring the house further down. So I'm going to start at negative 3. So here's 0, just as a reference. Negative 3 would be below 0. And this house is going to go deeper. We're like in a valley where we can go below sea level. And we're going to go down a total of 9. And negative 3 going down 9 would get us to negative 12. And over here, that would have looked like starting at negative 3 and going down 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which would be 2 more, which would be negative 12. And this problem could have been rewritten like same starting point, but then down 9 is the same as plus negative 9. All right, on to the state test level problems. For I, we have a decimal and a fraction. I want to make them the same form so I can add them together. So I'm going to take 2/5. I'm going to convert it into a decimal by first writing an equivalent fraction of 4/10 by multiplying by 2 over 2. And that's equivalent to 4/10 as a decimal. To make this also simpler, I'm going to take 4/10, and I know that 4/10 is the same as 40/100, which is a long way of just saying that I can write 4/10 as 40/100. So now when I rewrite this problem, I have negative 35/100 plus 40/100. And now it's actually not too bad. We're starting below 0 at negative 35/100, and then we're going up a total of 40/100. So first I go up 35/100. That would leave me with 5/100 left over. So the answer would be 5/100, or 0.05. And if you did this most common mistake, I bet some of you at first did this, and then you thought that you were adding you thought that this would just sort of add you up to negative 31. Negative 31/100. But that's why I did this down here, to show you that 4/10 is really 40/100. And so we're actually adding more to 35/100. It's going to go above 0. All right, for m, we have negative 3/4 minus negative 1/8. That looks kind of complicated, but first let's ask, is it going up or down? This is the starting point, negative 3/4. So that would be like down here. And then since we're subtracting a negative right here, subtracting a negative, that's like getting rid of weight, which means that this is really just going to go up. So I need to start at negative 3/4 and go up 1/8. I guess it would make sense to write 3/4 as eighths, which I can do by multiplying by 2 over 2. So I could change this to negative 6/8. And then I need to go up 1/8 because we're subtracting negative 1/8, which is the same as going up. So I'm going to go up 1/8. And since I'm getting 1/8 closer to 0, it goes negative 6, negative 5. So your answer should be negative 5/8. All right. It looks tricky, but it's actually one of the easier problems here. We're starting at negative 3/4, and then I got to figure out is it going up or down. So I'm adding a negative. Adding a negative is like adding weight to the house. So really, this is going down. Once I know that it's going down, I should make the denominators the same. So 1/2 I know is equivalent to 2/4, because 2 is half of 4, or you can multiply by 2 over 2. And when I rewrite this problem, I get 3/4 plus negative 2/4. If I come over here to my open number line, 3/4 minus 2/4, because I'm going down, I realize that this is simple. We're not even going to have a negative number, because 3 take away 2 is 1, so you should end up at positive 1/4, which is above 0. If you did what I'm sure some of you did, you could have rewritten this as minus 2/4, because we're just getting down, going down. That's another way that you can easily see, oh yeah, 3/4 minus 2/4, that's 1/4. Now, n looks really tricky. It just looks more complicated, but it's almost identical to j. The only thing is I didn't tell you, or I didn't put these parentheses, but that's basically what this means. We have negative 2/3 plus negative 1/6. So I got to think I'm starting here, and if I'm adding a negative, if I'm adding negative 1/6, I'm adding weight, and weight pulls the house down. So this is also going down. So 2/3 is equivalent to 4/6, and I'm doing that so that I have common denominators. The problem becomes negative 4/6 plus negative 1/6. I'm starting below 0 at negative 4/6, and I'm going down farther away from 0, down 1 more sixth, so that would get me to negative 5/6. So that's why the answer here is negative 5/6.